12:2 isn't just a Bible verse, it's a blueprint for how your brain changes. Most people read Romans 12:2 like a motivational quote. Do not be conformed to this world, but be transformed by the renewing of your mind. It sounds inspiring, but vague. What Paul is actually describing is not inspiration, it's a process. In fact, buried inside this single verse is the exact mechanism neuroscientists would not officially discover until the 20th century. The process is called neuroplasticity, the brain's ability to physically rewire itself based on repeated input. Scientists won Nobel Prizes for proving this. Paul described it 2,000 years earlier, not poetically, precisely. And when you understand the original Greek words he used, you realize Romans 12:2 isn't spiritual language, it's biological. Do not be conformed to this world. The word conformed in Greek is syschematizo. It literally means to be pressed into a mold. Your brain is being molded right now by what you repeatedly see, what you repeatedly hear, what you repeatedly think. Social media, news cycles, criticism, fear-based thoughts. Your mind adapts to whatever environment it lives in most often. That's not a spiritual idea, that's neuroscience. Before the 1960s, scientists believed the adult brain was fixed, hardwired, unchangeable. Then, brain imaging technology proved something shocking. Your brain is constantly changing. Every thought you think creates a neural pathway. Repeat that thought and the pathway strengthens. Keep repeating it and it becomes automatic. That's why anxiety feels permanent. Your brain didn't choose anxiety, it learned it through repetition. But here's the key. Learned pathways can be unlearned. New pathways can replace old ones. That's why Paul doesn't say try harder. He says be transformed. The word transformed is metamorpho, the same word used for a caterpillar becoming a butterfly. This is not self-improvement. This is structural change. A caterpillar doesn't become a butterfly by effort. It undergoes cellular level restructuring. That's what Paul says happens in your mind, by the renewing of your mind. The Greek word for renewing is anakainosis. Ana means again. Kainos means new in quality, not refurbished, not polished, rebuilt. Paul is describing the weakening of old neural pathways and the formation of new ones. That's neuroplasticity. And then he shows you how it happens. Romans 12:3 says, think soberly. The word soberly is sophroneo, to think in alignment with reality and truth. Then Paul immediately lists repeated behaviors: teaching, serving, giving, exhorting. These aren't random virtues, they're repetitive actions. Repeated thought, repeated behavior, repeated truth. That's how brains change. Philippians 4:8 reinforces this. Whatever is true, noble, just, pure, lovely, think on these things. The word think doesn't mean passive awareness. It means active, repeated focus. That's directed neuroplasticity. Psalm 1 says the blessed person meditates day and night. Joshua 1:8 says the same. Deuteronomy 6 says to speak truth when you sit, walk, lie down, and rise up. Why? Because repetition creates structure. Modern neuroscience confirms it takes roughly 66 days of consistent repetition for a new neural pathway to become dominant. Scripture didn't guess that, it assumed it. This is why speaking Scripture out loud is so powerful. When you speak truth, your brain receives auditory input, motor input, and cognitive input at the same time. Triple encoding. Romans 10:17 says, faith comes by hearing, not silent reading. When you hear your own voice speak truth repeatedly, your brain codes it as identity, not information. Now catch this. Romans 12:1 says, "Present your bodies a living sacrifice." Your bodies, not just your spirit, your brain, your nervous system, your biology. Paul is saying transformation isn't just spiritual, it's neurological. 2 Corinthians 10:5 explains the mechanics, casting down arguments and every high thing that exalts itself against the knowledge of God. Those high things are strongholds, fortified thought patterns built over time. How do you tear them down? By capturing thoughts, redirecting them, replacing them repeatedly. That's self-directed neuroplasticity. So here's what this looks like practically. Pick one area where your mind feels stuck: fear, insecurity, control, anxiety. Pick one verse that confronts that lie. Speak it out loud every morning and every night, not because it feels spiritual, but because you're building a neural pathway. Day 1 feels awkward. Day 10 feels familiar. Day 30, your brain starts reaching for it automatically. Day 66, it becomes default. That's transformation. Not by trying harder, by rewiring smarter. Romans 12:2 isn't poetic encouragement, it's a blueprint. Your mind can be rebuilt, starting today. Pick your verse, repeat it daily. Give your brain time to do what God designed it to do. Paul didn't need brain scans to know this worked. Science is just catching up. Romans 12:2 is neuroplasticity. You didn't